External.
In the previous classes, we have discussed about the various concepts related to the management, like introduction to management, as well as nature of management characteristics, and also we have discussed about different principles which is to be needed for us in order to manage the organization in a systematic way. So in today's class, we will be discussing about levels of management. So here, levels of management is one of the important concept of management process, wherein it deals with what are the what type of employees or which type of employees will be there in a specific organization, and what is the role of each and every employee in a specific organization. For example, if I take something as an software industry, as a software industry will be containing different types of employees, like one might be an intern of a specific organization, some people might be junior software engineers of a specific organization, some might be a senior software engineers of a specific organization, some might be a team leaders, some might be a managers, some might be the financial managers, some might be there are different roles in a specific organization which each and every people as an employee in an organization will be working for. So what is the role of each and every employee, and in at which level each and every employee comes into the picture when it comes to the management point of view, that we will be discussing in today's class. So here levels of management deals with three different roles, three different levels. One is top level, second one is middle level, and the third one is low level. So for example, as I said you in the before, like by taking an example of a software industry, at which level a software intern comes in this particular levels. At which level software intern will come, at which level CEOs will come, at which level board of directors will come, at which level the team leaders will come. So there are different roles, right? So each and every role comes under either any one of these three categories. One is top level, second one is middle level, and the third one is low level. First, go with the top level. Top level management is nothing but here the overall goal or overall objectives and principles of the organization will be set. Here at top level, there will be some people who will be acting as a board of directors, as well as CEOs of the organization, as well as entrepreneurs of the specific organization. They come under top level. Those are the people who comes under top level management. What is the role of those particular person? Their role is to take care of the entire organization. They are not going to take care of a specific department. Instead, they are going to take care of the complete organization, which comes with a number of departments. And what is the role of top level management here? Top level management is a process wherein the CEOs or board of directors or entrepreneurs or the principal of a specific organization is going to set up the goal of the organization. They are the one who are going to decide what must be the objective of the specific organization. What is the major objective of my organization will be set by the entrepreneur, by having a meeting with the entrepreneur, board of directors, CEOs or principals of a specific organization. And these are the people who will be involved in order to take care of the entire organization. Whereas the middle level is a one where it contains the department level. Middle level speaks about the department level heads. We call it as department level heads. Like where in terms of a college, if I speak, head of the department of mechanical, head of the department of computer science, head of the department of information science, or similarly if I take a software engineering, software sector, their team leaders, team managers, managers of a specific departments, as well as the role managers of a specific departments. They come under middle level management. What is the role of middle level management? First level is a top level. Top level speaks about designing their own objectives according to the need of the organization and setting up the principles, and they are the one who is going to take care of the entire organization. When it comes to a middle level, here they are the one who is going to set up the objective for their specific departments based upon the work which has been assigned by the top level management. Middle level management is a process wherein these people are involved in setting up their own particular objectives of a specific department based upon the instructions given by the top level management. Whatever the instructions that we got at top level, based upon the instructions that we have got at top level, this middle level management will work. Middle level management will work on the objectives of a specific department based on the need of the organization and based upon the instructions given by the higher authority people. Whereas the low level management comes with different persons. One is employees, second one is laborers, third one is it may be a junior or senior. All the employees rather than heads comes under low level management. What is the role of low level management? Low level management is a one where these people are involved in setting up their own objectives for their specific work. Understood, everyone? What is the difference between middle level and low level? Middle level is going to set up the objective for the department, whereas low level is going to set up the objective for the specific work which has been assigned to a specific employee. Understood? For example, let us take if I take an example of a college, let us take an example of RYMEC. Here, top level managers are nothing but a chairman of a specific organization, principal of a specific organization, and the VV Sangha governing body members are the top level managers of our organization. These people, what they do is they will be setting up their objectives. They will be setting up the objective based upon the need of the organization. Objectives are nothing but goals. In order to achieve those goals, we require certain principles and concepts. Those principles and concepts as well as goals of the organization will be set up at the top level managers by our principal as well as the chairman as well as governing body members as well as some other members of VV Sangha body. They will sit together and they will design their own particular objective, and they will design the principles and concepts which are required for achieving that particular objective, and they will send that particular objectives and they will share that particular objectives to middle level as well as low level. So whereas once the objectives has been set for each and every department, middle level management what they does is, for example here middle level management, let us take the HODs of various departments. What is the role of HODs? The role of head of the department is to take care of the employees of a specific department and design their own objective based upon their course. For example, computer science department has to set up their own particular objectives related to computer science only, and they have to try to achieve the goal of that particular objectives. Similarly, mechanical, they have to design their own particular objective based upon the mechanical oriented subjects, and they have to try to achieve that particular objectives. Whereas civil, their own objectives. Electronics, their own objectives. Each and every head of the department, they will be setting up their own particular objectives depending upon the type of subject that department is going to handle. Once the objectives has been defined, has been defined by each HOD of each and every department, they will share those objectives to the low level as well as top level, saying that these are the various objectives which we have defined for our departments, and this can be achieved by taking the support of the employees who are present at the low level, and they will be representing, saying that each and every employee will be provided with certain subjects for teaching the students based upon the semester and based upon the area of interest of the employees of our department, and they will be assigning the role for each and every employee of low level management team. Once the roles are designed, once the objectives are designed, once the sharing of subjects is defined by the head of the department, once they share that particular information to the low level management, what low level management employees will do is they will take up the subject based upon the request that has been sent by the, based upon the order that has been sent by the head of the department. For example, when it comes to your class itself, each and every faculty of our department is handling different subjects for you, right? Myself, I am handling management subjects, UKC sir is handling for computer networks, DBMS is handled by Kavita madam, right? So each and every subject is handled by different faculties. When they are handling their own particular subjects, they will be defining their own objective based upon the subject, not on the department. They will be defining their own objectives based upon the subject. For example, I will define my objective based upon my subject, which is called as management and entrepreneurship. UKC sir may design their objective based upon networks. The Kavita madam may design their objectives based upon the DBMS, and the other faculties will be designing their own particular objective based upon the subject which has been assigned to them for a specific semester. Once they define their objectives, they will try to attain those program outcomes of objectives which has been defined by a specific faculty. That is the role of low level manager. Similarly, what is the role of a faculty? Faculty's role is teaching. What is the role of labor of a specific department? Labor's role is, some laborers will be working for cleaning the departments, some laborers will be working for taking care of the employees requirement, some laborers will be working for taking care of certain issues related to the students, as well as arranging the systems and so on, right? So there are different works which will be carried out in a single small department also. So for each and every employee of a specific department, they will be having their own objective. If the HOD assigns me management and entrepreneurship, and if he asks me to design my own objective, I have to define my own objective related to my subject. But I must not define the objectives which is related to sweeper or any other labors. Labor role is cleaning. In order to clean, how to clean, what to clean, what are the materials required, they will define their own in their own manner. Whereas as an employee, as a faculty, my role is how to design my own objective based upon my subject. What are the materials which are required for me to refer for teaching the students, and in what way I can teach the students, what are the requirements which the students may require. I have to identify those things on myself, and I have to design my materials, and I have to share that particular materials to the students, representing this is the objective of your subject, and this is how we can achieve, and these are the materials which you have to refer in order to clear your examination successfully. This is the role which is carried out by the faculty of an organization who comes at low level. So this is what about the low level is. Low level managers. Okay. Now this is what about top level manager, middle level management and low level management. Understood till now? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, no doubts. So can you tell me who are the people who are involved with top level management? Yes? Top level management alli yaar CEOs of a specific company, directors,
Yes, sir. Manager.
Now, what is the role of top level management? What top level management does? Top level management, once again I repeat, top level management is a one which is designing their own particular objectives, principles and concepts for the entire organization. Middle level management is going to set up the objectives, principles and concepts for the department, whereas low level management is going to set up the objectives, principles and concepts for a specific subject which is related to a specific employee. That is what the difference here. Understood? Top level management, what it does?
Consists of chairmen, directors.
Please speak out. All of you are welcome to have a discussion. It will be more interesting if you have a discussion with us, and it will be very easy for you to learn more than what we are teaching with.
Sir, to determine the objectives and goals of the management.
Objectives are nothing but goals, objectives, principles,
Yes, sir.
concepts of the entire organization is a top level. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Middle level, objectives, principles and concepts of the department.
Specific.
Whereas low level, objectives, principles and concepts of
Specific subject.
specific work,
Subject.
specific subject. This is what the differences here is. Now, my question here is, if the low level, there will be some problems which when it comes to the organization, right? If the low level manager or a low level employee is facing some issue and he is not able to take up some classes, or it may be something internal related department wise problems, like in that particular cases, to whom they have to send a letter or send a information that I am facing so and so problem in order to take up with this class.
Middle level, sir.
Low level manager has to go to
Middle
middle
level.
level. What this middle level manager does?
Specified objectives.
What this middle level, when you go, like student also comes under low level manager itself, right? You will come to me saying that, sir, this is the problem which I am facing with and I am not able to take up the class and my attendance is very low. What I will do? I will take a letter from you saying that this is the problem which has been faced by so and so student, and I will forward that particular letter to middle level manager. What this middle level manager does? Understood my question?
Sir.
As a student, you came to me saying that this is the problem which I am facing in the college and I am not able to concentrate on studies and so on, and this please help me out in order to overcome this particular drawback. So I will ask you to write a letter and you will submit that particular letter to me. Once you submit that particular letter to me, I will forward that particular letter to middle level management. What this middle level management does?
Sir, sort out the
They will try to sort out that particular problem. If that particular problem is sorted out in the middle itself, then they won't take it to the top level management.
Top level. Yes,
If the problem is big and if it is more complicated, then what they will do, they will forward
top level.
to the top level management, and personally they will go and have a discussion about this particular problem to either a chairman or a principal or CEO of a specific company, and they will come up with a solution for it. But low level managers cannot go directly to the top level managers, bifurcating middle level managers. If I go directly to the top level managers by bifurcating middle level managers, then there will be an issue for low level management. Understood? Whatever the problem that you are facing, you have one particular person as your head. You have to go to that particular head only. You have to try to convince him this is the problem. If he doesn't reply back, what you are going to do? You came to me, you said that I am facing this particular problem, and I said you to give a letter, but I have not solved your problem at all. What you will do next? Understood my question? I am the low level management. You came to me saying that this is the problem, but I have not sorted out, or neither I have passed that particular message to the middle level management. Then what is the role of you as a student? What you are going to do? Yes, understood my question, everyone? Please unmute yourself and speak out. Rekha, Dwarka, Pooja, Saundarya, Shruti, Vijay Lakshmi, all are idle. Please speak out. What is your role as a student? If the problem is not sorted out by a specific subject teacher,
Choose an alternate path.
what is the alternative path that you people are going to choose?
Refer any books or
Then
like any other forms, or like we'll ask any others who know about it.
okay. If it is not solved, even if after doing all these particular aspects, you are not able to grasp the things and you are suffering from that particular subject, that you have not came across with the concepts and you have not understood about that particular concepts, then what you can do?
Sir, refer and sort out.
Huh?
Just refer to everything, sir, what is the problem and all. And then refer to some books and some taking some guidance of the management also.
As a low level management, as soon as I go with a problem saying that this is the problem which I am facing with to the middle level management, if middle level management doesn't listen to my problem, then I sometimes I have to bifurcate a middle level management and I have to go to the top level management. That is what the answer which I was looking for. If I am neglecting your request, then immediately you must choose an alternative of going to the middle level managers. That is nothing but your HOD. Sir, we are facing a problem with this particular subject and Shiva Prasad sir has not sorted out this particular problem, and please help me out in order to overcome this particular problem. You will be going to the concerned HOD, right? And HOD will be trying to solve that particular problem by having a discussion with the concerned faculty of a particular subject where the student is facing a problem. So this is the process which will be carried out in between low level management and middle level management, and top level management will be looking after the entire organization. If middle level management comes with any problem, then they will try to sort out with that particular problem. But if low level management directly go to the top level management may not take it as serious. Why? Because they have bifurcated the heads of that particular departments and they came directly to us. They will say that you meet your concerned head of the department, take the suggestion, take the signatures from them and then come back to us. Why? Because they don't want the middle level managers to be bifurcated. Why? Because these are the persons who are going to run their specific departments systematically, and they will be the one who will be knowing about their employees more than top level managers. Head of the department of our department will be knowing very well about each and every employee of our department, who is good in which work and which subject and so on, and they will be assigning the roles to us. But middle level management, if in case there is any big issue which has been raised in the department, then the middle level management will take the suggestion of top level management. So this is what the role of levels of department is. And this levels of management is designed by Breach. Breach is a scientist, or a Breach is a author who have designed the management into three different levels. One is top, middle, and the third one is low level. Top level speaks about the principles, concepts, and objectives of the entire organization, whereas middle level management speaks about the principles, concepts, and objectives of the department, and low level management speaks about the employees of a specific organization. Whether the employees can be anyone. Employees are nothing but, rather than head of the department, rather than managers, managers of a specific normal employees. There may be a senior software engineer or junior software engineer, or there may be an intern, or there may be a laborers, or there may be the attenders or peons, whatever. All these people will come under low level management. Okay, and this is what about the levels of management speaks about. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So, and here there are this is one of the important concept for your main examination. Here he may ask you about define management, explain the levels of management with a neat block diagram. If he asks you that, you have to draw this particular diagram and you have to explain what is management, then you have to explain about top level management, middle level management, and low level management, and it carries something around 8 marks for your main examination. Okay, so the next concept here is evolution of management. What is evolution of management? Here evolution of scientific management is a one which speaks about how we can manage the organization systematically with the help of a scientific effects. Scientific techniques or scientific effort speaks about a technical knowledge which is required for us in order to manage the organization. So technical, why we require, when it comes to a word called as management, why we are bothered about techniques? Why we have management is completely deals with a non-technical knowledge of a specific work. But some scientists says that management requires science. As I said to you in the previous classes, what is scientific management speaks about? Scientific management is nothing but it is a one which deals with the management process scientifically, and it is one which is it speaks about the art of knowing what needs to be done, how it has to be done, and where it has to be done in a cheaper manner. Whenever the work comes into the picture, whenever we come across with any sort of work, whether it is a big work or small work, sometimes we may not need a technical knowledge. Sometimes we may need a technical knowledge in order to manage that particular work, isn't it? Like, for example, in order to write an assignment or a notes, do you want technical knowledge? A teacher will be dictating you the notes. While dictating, whether you need, as a student, whether you need a scientific knowledge to take down the notes which has been dictated by the staff. Yes or no?
No, sir.
No. I am not able to listen you properly. Unmute yourself and speak it out.
No, sir.
No. Okay. If I give you an assignment of write a code in order to identify which word act as a noun, which word act as a verb. I have given you one paragraph and I said you to write a code for this particular paragraph, a file program, and identify which word act as a noun, which word act as a verb, which word act as an adjective, and so on. if I give this particular work to you, how you are going to manage your assignment in this particular case? There, dictating the notes from the teacher and taking down the notes from the student doesn't require technical knowledge. We require grasping knowledge. We require listening, careful listen of the words which has been spoken by your concerned teacher, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So here, whether my voice is not audible, are you able to listen?
Yes, sir.
Dhirendra,
Sir, now it's okay, sir.
now it is okay. Fine. So if you face any issue, please put it in a chat box or immediately unmute yourself and inform me so that I can adjust myself in order to make you to listen carefully, and the voice must be audible for you.
Sir, you are clear.
Clear is that? Okay, for here.
Sir, now it's clear, sir.
Okay, fine. So here, when it comes to the work part of you, some work might require scientific knowledge, some work might not require scientific knowledge. But when it comes to the management point of view, it says that majority of the work can be carried out scientifically. Why? Because we require thinking knowledge. Without thinking about a specific work, whether it is a work related to a technical aspect or work related to a non-technical aspect, we must have a thinking capability. Thinking also comes under scientific process. How you are going to think, how you are going to manage yourself, how you are going to perform the operation of a specific work, it depends upon your thinking capability. Thinking capability speaks about the scientific process inside your body or inside your brain, which is going to carry out by activating your neurons of brain. Similarly, here also, this scientific knowledge is a one, or a scientific management is a one, which speaks about how you are going to achieve your goal or how you are going to achieve your task. In order to achieve that particular task, there are three important things. What is the task that you are going to achieve? Second one is how you are going to achieve, and when you are going to complete that particular task. These are the three important things which is required for us. In order to complete these three important tasks, what is the estimated cost of your work? So estimated cost depends upon the type of method that you choose for the second point. How you are going to complete that particular task. The method which you choose depends upon the cost of your work depends upon the method which you have chosen. If the method is cheaper, then the work which you are going to carry out will be cheap. We have to try to complete the work without investing more amount for it. We have to invest minimum amount. In order to invest a minimum amount, which method is more suitable for us has to be identified. So in order to identify, we require a scientific knowledge. In order to know what is the work that we are going to carry out, we require a scientific knowledge. And what is the time complexity which is required for completing the work? In order to know that, we require a scientific knowledge. So he says that a scientific knowledge or a scientific management process is a one which is most essentially needed for performing the operation of management in a specific organization. That is what he speaks about. That is what this evolution of scientific management speaks about. And here there are two different approaches. One is Taylor's scientific management approach, and the other one is Henry Fayoli administrative management. What this Taylor scientific management approach says about? Taylor scientific management approach is nothing but, here the person with the name called as F.W. Taylor. F.W. Taylor, he says he is he is a person who started his career in one of the steel industry in USA. What was his designation earlier when he started his career is, he was like a small labor. We call them as apprenticeship. He was just a labor of a specific steel industry in USA. And based upon his work and based upon his culture and based upon the objectives that he has achieved as a small employee in that particular company, he was appointed as a chief engineer of that particular company. Once he was appointed as a chief engineer of that particular company, Taylor and his associates has a deep study of management scientifically. And they said that this management doesn't not only deal with the non-technical aspect, it also deals with the technical aspects in order to make the organization successful. And they were succeeded in that particular aspect. And so we call Taylor as a father of scientific management. Taylor is considered, so due to that particular case, due to that particular achievements, Taylor was considered as father of scientific management. And he rolled out certain principles. What are the various principles that has to be carried out scientifically in order to make the employees to work systematically in the organization? He laid down, these are the 6 different principles which has been laid down by the Taylor. First principle here is separation of planning and doing. Earlier in the previous days in a specific organizations, planning has to be done by the same employee. What type of work has to be carried out by must be taught by the same employee. How to work, what to work, when to work, how to achieve it, what is the time required for it, everything, the complete work of a specific organization must be designed by a single employee. He is the one who is going to identify what is the work that has to be carried out, how the work has to be carried out, when it has to be carried out, what is the time which is required for us, what is the cost which might be required for us in order to complete that particular task. Assigning a single n number of works to a single employee may lead to the conflict. Yes or no? So for example, 5th sem A section, we have 6 subjects. All the 6 subjects is assigned for Shiva Prasad. 5th sem A section completely it's Shiva Prasad's class, all the 6 subjects. When they assigned the subjects to me like this, when they assign the subjects to specific faculties like this, what is going to happen? Understood my question? One single faculty is assigned by 6 subjects of a same semester. If they assign the work in this particular manner, can the employee or the faculty concentrate on all the 6 subjects perfectly and reach the students?
No, sir.
No, right?
Yes.
Impossible. Similarly, when it comes to the student's point of view, if I give the university says that all the 6 subjects exam must be written in a single day starting from morning 6 o'clock to evening night 10 o'clock. Every subject carries 2 hours of exam. All the subjects must be completed within 1 day. Can you achieve your accurate percentage easily when this is the case?
No, sir.
No, right? You require some time for preparation of each and every subject. If all the subjects are, all the subject exams are in a single day, or within 2 days. It's very difficult for the student to complete the task or the complete the studies with a very good accurate result successfully, isn't it? So similarly, the same thing was happening in the earlier days in the organization. They used to assign the work to only one employee who is good in working. Every time, okay, one specific faculty, they will assign the work. Every time they go on assigning the work. Why? Because he works. They leave others aside. Or sometimes, if all the works are assigned to a single person, then the accuracy of the work will not give a proper result. The accuracy becomes low, efficiency becomes low, and the employee will not be stable at all in order to complete that work successfully. So in order to avoid that, in order to avoid this, Taylor came across with this first step, which is called as first principle, which is called as separation of planning and doing. He says that separation of planning, like, is there any problem?
Sir, I'm able to
No,
hear
sir.
You are not able to hear my voice, sir.
No, sir, your screen is not visible for me, sir.
Now?
No, sir.
Why? Others are able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now?
Yes, sir.
Now you are not able to see, or you are able to see?
No, sir. Till now it was coming, so suddenly the screen went.
1 second. Now are you, now?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Everyone got?
Yes,
Fine. So separation of planning and doing it, Taylor says that work must be done by one employee and planning must be done by the experts. He divided the complete work into two different features. One is planning and doing. Who is going to plan? Experts are going to plan the work. And who is going to perform the operation of doing? Doing is done by the employees of a specific organization. Once the plan is ready, that if that particular plan comes to me, then based upon that particular plan, I will work. So divided the entire work into two different parts. One part is planning and the other part is doing. Planning is done by the experts. Once the plan is ready, that particular plan will be sent to the one who is going to work on that particular plan, and he is the one who is going to work on that particular plan. So that is what he says, like, we must not give the entire work to a single employee. Instead, we have to divide the entire work into different parts and make them to work in a successfully. Planning must be done by the experts. Work must be carried out by the employees based upon the plan which has been designed by the experts. That is what the first step speaks about, first principle speaks about. Whereas the second principle is functional foremanship. Have you heard about this particular word called as foreman? Anybody heard about this particular word called as foreman? To whom we normally call as a foreman in the society? Any of your parents?
Sir, a male
Railway
worker or
department?
supervisor will call them as a foreman.
Supervisors, managers will be considered as foreman here. But like one special, like we haven't used this particular word in for the supervisors and everywhere, right? But is there anyone, any of your parent is working in railway department? Yes?
No, sir.
No. Like, have you seen the one who opens the gate near the near the railway gate and closes the gate. What we call them as? You have seen the railway gates, right? There will be one
Yes.
who will be opening the gate and closing the gate depending upon the train arrival and train dispatch. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What we call him as? What we call them as? So we call them as gangmans or foremans when it comes to the railway department. But the same word is not used anywhere in any other organization. But the one who act as a manager, or supervisors or heads of a specific department or team leaders of a specific department are considered as foremans. Functional foremanship is one of the most essentially needed for each and every organization. Why? Because without foremanship, it's very difficult for us to control the employees. If the employees need to be under the control of the organization, then there must be at least one or two leaders who will be acting as a managers or heads of a specific organizations. If there is no heads or if there is no specific leaders for the specific organization, then it's very difficult for them to control the employees of the organization. If the functioning of the organization needs to be accurate, needs to be proper, and needs to achieve the goal of the organization, then the functional foremanship is one of the most essential thing which is required for each and every organization. And who are the people who will be involved in this foremanship is managers, directors or team leaders or team managers. These are the people to whom they call them as foremans. And this is most essentially needed for each and every organization which has been represented by Taylor. And the third one is elements of scientific management. See, in these elements of scientific management, we majorly deal with three different aspects. One is work study. Second one is material management. Then third one is selection of employees for the organization. Elements of scientific management speaks about three different aspects. One is work study. What is work study involves? Why we require work study for a specific organization? Why we need to study the work which we are going to carry out? Why you are going to study the question paper before starting the examination? Without question paper, can you write the examination?
No, sir.
No, right? So once we give you the question paper, without
No, sir.
the question paper, can you start answering the questions?
No, sir.
Why?
Once you will recall all what we have learned, sir.
Why you are going to study the question paper?
You will recall the concept which I have read, sir.
If the question paper doesn't have the concepts which you have not read, if you don't have the questions which you have read, what you
We'll think once and will write.
See-
Start to write, sir.
recalling what you have read is second aspect. First, you will be
Sir, to
having
know what they ask, sir. What
you will be having something in your mind that what are the questions that they have asked us, right? If the
Yes, sir.
questions, why we have to read the questions? Questions helps me to know whether whether I will be able to complete this particular examination successfully or not. We can come to know that only if I read that question paper, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Studying the question paper will help you to know in what way we have to work. So we like from which answer we have to start, and at last which answer we have to end. By reading the question paper, you will plan first which answer I have to start, whether I have to start the first question or second question or last question. It depends upon your study of question paper. Study of work helps you to know the time required for completing the entire examination successfully within the time period of 3 hours. Once you read, you will plan which answer to which is my first answer, which is my next answer, which is my third answer, which is my fourth answer, and so on. You will plan, right? Once you plan, based upon that particular plan, you start working. When you start working, in sudden, if you like in the middle, if you come across with some time efficiency, again you will change your plans, right? Like you have like 3 hours, within 3 hours you have to write 5 questions. If you are not able to write the 5 questions within 3 hours, already 2 hours 15 minutes is completed. We have left out with another 45 minutes, but I have completed only 3 questions. I have to write another 2 full questions. So only 45 minutes is left. What is your next plan? You will replan the same plan which you have planned earlier for the another 45 minutes, right? Yes or no? Planning and replanning and working according to the plan and replans will be known to you only if you study the question paper thoroughly. Studying the question paper, studying the work thoroughly will help you to know the time required for completing the work and the method of writing the examination, and the way you are going to complete that particular work can be known to me only if you study the work. If you don't study the work, it's impossible for me to complete the exam successfully. So this is what about the first point of elements of scientific management speaks about. Whereas the second point, it speaks about the tools, standard tools and methods which you are going to choose for a specific work. First, it speaks about the work study. Work study will help you to know the time complexity which is required, and the work study which is required, and the method which you have chosen, and the complete plan of your work can be known to you by the help of work study. Second point here is standard tools. In order to complete that particular work, what are the tools that are required for me? Standard tools, when it comes to the exam point of view, you require a booklet, you require a pen, you require a pencil and scale and so on. The major important tool which is required for me is pen. Standard pen in the sense the pen must work appropriately. Without a tool, without a pen, you can't write the examination, isn't it? You have planned very well. But if you don't have pen with you to complete that particular work, is that particular work can be completed successfully? Yes.
No, sir.
Are you people able to listen?
Yes, sir.
You are in the first point of elements of scientific management. What you have done as a student is you have got your question paper, you have got your booklet to write. You have studied that question paper, and based upon that particular question paper and based upon the answers that you know, you have planned. Okay, after planning, next is you have to start writing the examination. That is nothing but executing the work which you have studied in the previous process. So in order to execute that particular work which you have studied in the first step of elements of scientific management, we require a tool, isn't it? That particular tool is nothing but a pen. We require a standard pen. What that particular standard pen speaks about? I have a pen and standard pen is completely different. The pen which may write or may not write is not a standard pen. The pen which always write is considered as a standard pen. So, standard tools are most essentially needed for me in order to complete the work study successfully. Standard tools and methods, standard tools and equipments are has to be analyzed and which has to be kept ready for the work which you are going to carry out. And the third one is work. I came to know what is the work which has to be carried out in my organization. I have gathered all the tools which is required for my organization. Next is employees to the organization. We have to recruit the employees who is capable of utilizing the tools and the work, utilizing the tools and achieve the work successfully. We require employees. So here Taylor says that the employees must be selected and they must be well trained technically in order to complete the work successfully by using the tools, by utilizing the tools which is already existing in the organization. Based upon the tools available, based upon the work which has been designed, we have to recruit the employees. Recruiting the employees and training them according to the needs of the tools will help me to achieve the success and goals of the specific organization can be known to me with the help of third point. First point, work study. Second point, standard tools. Third point, employees recruitment must be done based upon the tools availability and based upon the work of my organization has to be, we have to gather the information. Okay, so next is bilateral mental revolution. 1 second, hello? Off on 15 minutes. Okay, next is bilateral mental revolution. Bilateral mental revolution is most essentially needed to control the employees in all the ways. So bilateral mental revolution speaks about we have to control the employees emotionally as well as physically. Emotionally in the sense we have to take care of our employees. We are the one who are they are the one who are bringing some profits to my organization. When they are bringing some profits to my organization, it's my duty and responsibility to take care of them. So taking care of them emotionally, if they are having any sort of issues which has been raised personally or which has been raised in the organization, we are the people who have to take care of them and make them to come out of those particular problems and work effectively. Bilateral mental revolution speaks about mentally upset employees. There will be some people who will be upset on something due to some personal issues or some other aspects. So how to overcome that particular problems? So we have to we must not demotivate them. Instead, we have to motivate them, saying that this is not a big issue. You can move ahead. I will help you out in order to solve this particular problem. Like we have, Taylor says that encouraging the employees, even though they are disappointed, by giving some sort of confidence to them and motivating them will lead to a success of employee as well as organization. Bilateral mental doesn't speak about abnormality. Mental and takshna, we will go directly to the mental hospital. But when it comes to the management point of view, mental revolution speaks about the thinking capability. It speaks about the disappointments. It speaks about the diversions from work. So we must not make the staff or the employees to divert themselves from work. We must create an environment of an organization in such a way that the organization employees must think only about the work when work matter comes into the picture. They must not think about anything else. Instead, even though if they have any sort of distractions, we must support them and we must motivate them this is not a big issue and this is how we can solve, and this is for this we will support you, you move ahead with this. And motivating them and supporting them brings lot of confidence to the employees. That is what the thing which he says, Taylor says. Bilateral mental revolution speaks about motivating the employees, bringing them out from the disappointments and helping them to gain the confidence by sitting beside them will lead to a very good success of the organization. That is what the bilateral mental revolution speaks about. Whereas the financial incentive speaks about giving the incentives to the employees who work more for the organization rather than the salary which has been fixed. Along with the salary, there must be some appreciations to the employees who work more for the organization. For example, my work is 8 hours. If I work for 12 hours or 14 hours or 15 hours for the organization purpose, then they must be paid extra along with whatever the salary that has been fixed for them. That will help us to make others also work in the same manner. Like if I give incentives to some people, some employees who are working for 2 hours more or 4 hours more, and if we motivate them by giving some incentives or by giving some awards, that best effective efficient employee of the organization, giving some awards or giving some financial incentives to the employees, will make them to motivate themselves, will lead to motivate themselves, and they will work. Frankly speaking, if any organization gives incentives like 1 hour, if you work for more than 1 hour, another 1 hour rather than 8 hours. If you work for 9 hours, for that 1 hour I will pay you 2000 rupees. If 2000 is an incentive for 1 hour, then definitely I will work. Why? Because money is very important asset according to today's society. But money is not more important rather than work is very important. If we work properly, then automatically money will flow towards us. So financial incentives is the one which speaks about giving some support to the employees, for giving the support to the employees who work hard for the organization by giving some more extra time to the organization and giving some awards to the employees, to those who work hard for the organization. Whereas economy speaks about the profit. The profit and loss of the organization must be balanced scientifically in such a way that it must not have the stability. The stability of the organization may go at the bottom or may come up, but it must have some sort of stableness in order to manage the loss and profit of the organization. Any organization that you take, they will be having loss as well as profit. The loss and profit must be in a stable mode. It must not be in a non-stable mode. It must not be fluctuating. Even the fluctuation comes into the picture. The fluctuation must be a small difference. Must have a small difference of fluctuations. So, in order to maintain that particular economical activity, Taylor says that the economical activity can be managed well with more profit and less loss only if you take a proper decisions in the organization. A proper decisions in the sense it may be related to the products that you are going to design and develop. It may be depend upon the quality of the product and depends upon the cost of the product. Quality, type of product, quality of the product, and the cost of the product. If these three are well managed, then with the economy of the organization may not fluctuate more, and it may lead to a more profit and less loss. So this is what about the Taylor scientific management approach speaks about, and this is what about the Taylor's management is. Taylor's management, and this is the first concept of evolution of scientific management. And evolution of scientific management in general, it deals with two different things. One is early management approach and the second one is standard management approach. Early management approach speaks about Taylor and Floyd's, whereas standard management approach speaks about qualitative quantitative and customized approaches. Okay, in the next class, we will be discussing about Foyle's administrative approach. Once we complete with Henry's Foyle's administrative approach, we will be completing with the first module of management. Okay, first chapter of module 1 of management. Okay, next we will be discussing about the planning and its concepts, also organizing and its concepts. Understood everyone? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So today I am going to give you one assignment on levels of management. Take down that particular assignment, everyone. Write a note or write down the description about levels of management by taking an example of any organization, whatever the, like, you can choose your own organization. Okay, for example, some can choose software industry as your organization, some might choose colleges as your organization, some might choose primary school as your organization, some can choose your own business which your dad is running as your organization, and try to write the example for levels of management. Levels of management, who is involved in top level you are the owner. Let us say you are the one who act as a owner, and if you are the owner, how you are going to design your own organization based upon these three levels. So this is the assignment which I am going to give you, and this assignment must be submitted to me by tomorrow evening. Understood? You have to submit that particular assignment by using the Olympus. I will be designing the question and I will be sending that, publishing that particular question to you. You have to scan that particular document and you have to share that particular document to me. Levels of management by taking an example of your own organization. Write down that particular points. Levels. What are the levels that you are going to design for your organization? At which level who is involved? And second level who is involved, and third level who is involved, and what is the roles of each and every levels, and how they are going to carry out, how you people are going to carry out, in what way you are going to manage your organization. This is the assignment which I am going to give you for today. By tomorrow evening 5 o'clock, I want everyone to submit your assignment without fail. And don't ever try to copy the document. Don't ever try to copy the document from your friends. Try to write on your own. Even if it is wrong, or even if it is silly, or even if it is whatever it may be, try it from your side. Try from your side. You are the one who is going to lead your life. So you must try your own work in your own manner. Then only you can learn something, achieve something. Understood? Understood everyone?